Welcome everyone today to our new ILM People and Culture Business Partnering Programme. So delighted to have you join the call, and thank you so much for giving up your time. I know it's during a lunch, but feel free to eat your lunch, have your camera off, etc. But we're just going to talk you through today in a very relaxed way about our new exciting programme that we're really chuffed about, really pleased about. So I'll hand over to Claire first of all to introduce herself, then we'll put some slides up and talk through. It's not death by PowerPoint today, it's an interactive session from that perspective. So Claire, do you want to share with people first of all your experience and background?
Lovely to meet you all virtually. So hello, I'm Claire Thorpe and I work for myself. I've got my own business, Vale Brook HR. I'm a HR consultant and a coach. And I've got more than, dare I say, 20 years experience working in senior HR roles in organisations across a range of industries, retail, construction, financial services and healthcare, you name it. I think I've spent some time in a senior HR role in that industry. And early in my career, I did my HR professional development with the CIPD, which I'm sure we all know and love. And I did my certificate there and I did my postgraduate degree. And following corporate life, as I say, I set up my own organisation and focus on leadership development and coaching. Stephen and I met earlier this year. Stephen invited me to do a podcast on authentic leadership, and we had a really nice time chatting about that, and we got talking about our shared interest in developing a programme of support for developing people and culture professionals to enhance specifically their leadership capability and ability really to have a tangible impact on their organisation. And that's really what brings us together today, to share more about our programme with you. So really nice to be here, really nice to meet you all, and looking forward to sharing a bit more as we go through the course of the next hour.
Yeah, fab. So thank you so much, Claire. So Claire, if you don't mind putting the slides up and we start to have a walk through for that, and I'll do an introduction from us. So we're really excited about partnering with Claire through her experience, joined up values as well. So values and principles, and also how we feel and how we work. So really good. And we get to work with a lot of people with similar values, and we've got people on the call today with us, which is great. So Claire, if you don't mind ticking over the next slide. So just a bit about Inspirational Coaching Limited. So we work in what's called the cultural transformation area. So today, if you think about what we're trying to do with our ILM program, it's about cultural transformation. How do we leave legacy? How do we really make an impact on where we work? So we work on basic 5 pillars. So the first 2 pillars are around conflict resolution. So we either go in and support organisations to have better facilitated conversations, or we train colleagues. Same with mediation. We either train colleagues in a mediation world, so that's a 5-day program to be a professionally qualified mediator, or we go in and mediate for organisations. And we've definitely seen that become more popular or be more used since the pandemic, which has been great to nip issues in the bud early. Today, which falls under in our leadership arena, we concentrate on leadership development, either through our ILM programs, which we're talking today, which is a great qualification, internationally recognised, or through our CPD programs. And if you notice in, I think the recent stats of 2.4 million untrained leaders going to leadership roles, and that's not fair on them. That's really not fair on those colleagues. So we look at actually how we can help colleagues be better in that role and do a really good job. Bit of giveaway in the title. So we're Inspirational Coaching Limited, so we specialise in coaching as well, and that's what we're also going to bring into the ILM program. So not to do a spoiler alert, but that's going to come into the ILM program from that perspective. But we also train people to be coaches, or we go and coach people individually. And then the last thing we look at, which is HR colleagues on here will probably know that the old policies like grievance, bullying, harassment are so out of date and cause harm and damage that we work with organisations modernising their policies for a more respectful way, a restorative way with their colleagues and also the organisation. So we're delighted to be partnering with Claire and really excited about our new ILM programme. So Claire, I think I'm going to hand over to you for the next part.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for introducing the organisation and giving that background and context. It's really useful. So let's talk about, I guess, what we're here to talk about, and focus on the skills and knowledge that are essential for HR professionals. And we'd like to start by really putting this question out to you guys, to start to think about, what are your thoughts around this question? So take a minute or two to just consider what key skills or knowledge areas are essential for HR professionals to master to be effective in, I guess, today's work environment and for the future. So what are your thoughts? If you want to just pop them in the chat, then we can have a look through those and just work through those to start to really orientate us towards, this space of developing our HR capability. Let us know what you're thinking. Helen's typing. What sorts of things? I guess another way to look at the question is, what sorts of things are you grappling with in your role, or perhaps you're seeing your colleagues grapple with, that is a key area that needs focus. Just give you a minute. I can see a few of you are frantically typing. Don't worry about spellings and grammar. Just get it on there. Being able to talk the business language and support the business to deliver key business objectives. Absolutely. And talking the business language can often mean, understanding the business, understanding what makes it perform well, what makes it tick, but genuinely understanding it and being able to have conversations around that. So I really hear that point.
And I think that's the other bit, Claire, isn't it, about from a leadership point of view, how are we talking that common language to influence that CEO, CFO, FD, those kind of bits? How are we using the language to influence? Yeah, great. Yeah, good question.
Yeah, really good. Empathetic nature coming from the top. Yeah. And, this is a real trend. Compassionate leadership, coaching-led leadership is a real trend. And as, the people professionals, it's really our role to role model and support the development of leaders in this space. So really, really important that we have these skills and we're able to demonstrate them and really lead the way. So it's great to see that there, and I definitely recognise that theme. And that's a big, I think, differentiator of this programme is the focus on coaching that we've built into the programme, which we'll come on to talk a bit more about. But really key area of development and a shift away from perhaps more influencing to more coaching.
Yeah.
Emotional intelligence and being able to communicate, absolutely. Having capability to drive change and be a change champion, and really understanding the change that's needed in your organisation, and being able to kind of work together with leadership to make a difference in that space, rather than, all too often HR professionals focus on people change that maybe not on the business agenda. So it's about how do you get that on the business agenda, or indeed how do you align to support to achieve what's on the business agenda? Yes and yes. Some agreement.
And I think going back to Christina's point as well, emotional intelligence, yeah, we're going to be working through that. So that's really good on the calls around that point of view, and the ability to communicate, speaking that language, but also the ability to say no. And actually, how do you work through that and then come up with different solutions, rather than we see from a HR perspective become firefighting rather than being proactive? That's what we want to kind of bring to the ground. Yeah, fab, some really good stuff there, Claire. Really good stuff coming out.
Really good stuff. And there's lots around, innovation and resilience as well in this space. So it's really good to see. Yeah, and I can see you nodding, Helen. So I can see that that's something that sounds familiar. Brilliant. That's really useful. Okay, so in terms of kind of the landscape and what's going on, just useful to explore some of that, I think, to just kind of paint a bit of a picture around this environment that we're operating in. So employment in the HR sector is projected to grow steadily, and organisations are looking to move toward one HR professional for around every 75 in organisations in the UK at the moment. And I think that really demonstrates the importance organisations are placing on HR expertise, and the increased focus in areas such as attracting and retaining talent, organisational change, equality, diversity and inclusion, health and well-being, etc. You know, the list goes on and on and on. And organisations are really starting to pay attention, and hence the focus on HR growth. The demand for HR qualifications within that, so within vacancies and job ads, has grown by 115% compared to about 10 years ago. So, you know, pretty much all HR roles are requiring some kind of relevant qualification. And I know, you know, those of you that are in roles responsible for recruiting into your teams, you'll absolutely be looking for relevant qualifications to support people's knowledge and people's credibility coming into HR roles. So it's more important than ever to ensure that you've got the necessary qualifications to be credible alongside your peers, and to be considered for vacancies, because it's more of a discounting rather than a including statistic these days. And then in terms of earning potential, certified HR professionals, they can earn an average of up to 17% more than their non-certified peers. So I feel like, you know, that's pretty decent percentage. So I think there's a clear advantage there to your earning potential to have a credible and recognised qualification. So I think those stats speak for themselves. And as we've said, this programme is accredited by the ILM. 90% of learners on ILM programmes say that one of the biggest benefits to being on an ILM programme is that they're able to apply their learning to their day-to-day job role. So that will enable you to have an impact on your role and on your organisation directly through the programme by using real life scenarios and applying your learning. You know, often you go on a training programme and you learn a lot of great theories and models, but it's really difficult to kind of figure out, well, how do I apply this? What does it actually mean back in the workplace? And how do I bring that in and use my organisational language around this to make it stick? And that's where the ILM is really different, I guess, in the sense that we'll work through real life scenarios to help you apply the learning and make it meaningful and have an impact immediately, really, in your role, in your organisation. And standing out from the crowd, what's this one about? Well, this is about the CIPD has about 150,000 members, which is massive. And, you know, all HR professionals out there are vying for roles in the job market. The majority of them have got their CIPD qualifications. The majority of them are CIPD members, which is fantastic because it creates such a strong professional community. The CIPD are at the top of their game. I did my qualifications with the CIPD and I advocate for them. But I think that number is quite something. And so undertaking something like an ILM accredited training programme, which will give you recognised qualification with a specific focus in leadership, but also in your specialist area of people and culture, this makes you a highly credible HR leader, sorry. And doing this as well as your CIPD membership, as well as perhaps other complementary training with the CIPD and other training providers can really set you apart. So it's definitely worth thinking about that in terms of, you know, all of those qualified people and how you stand out from that crowd, how your colleagues can do that too. And finally, this really surprised me. Only 2% of UK boards have a HR director on the board as an executive member. I think the percentage is slightly higher as for board members, but as an executive member, it's only 2%, which I think is quite shocking, actually. I think it's around 98, 99% of boards have a CFO or an FD, which I guess is not that surprising. But this, for me, really paints the picture around what the opportunity is. To develop HR professionals from a leadership and management point of view so that, you know, we can address that and we can increase that percentage and get a greater representation at a board level of HR qualified individuals. So I think, you know, that really surprised me, but it also gave me a bit of fire under my seat to kind of push forward and develop something that can really help HR professionals in this leadership space so that they're credible with a recognised qualification. So I thought that was really interesting to just share some of that, provide a bit of context and background. And I'm going to hand over to Stephen, who's going to talk a bit about the ILM qualifications and where our programme sits within that.
Yeah, thank you. And it's fantastic, Claire, isn't it, about that, what's available to people. And what we're saying is CIPD's got its place. We definitely agree with that.
Totally.
But there's also a bit about where could you get your edge from, and that's where we're hopefully bringing in those practical skills from that point of view. So the ILM qualification, so we're well recognised and well respected in the ILM world as a provider. We provide a real good in-depth training courses that offer practical and theory base, which people really, really appreciate. So the first thing about we're looking at the qualification of yourselves about empowering you as HR professionals and applying your skills and knowledge and enhancing those in the industry that you come into. If I was to do on the call today, did you come into HR to firefight, grievance problems, etc.? The answer would be no. What you come into HR world was to, drive strategy, coach people, develop, really enhance that organisation. That's where we really want to start to think about empowering you as colleagues. The next bit is about inspiring people. We want to really kind of, as Claire said, about light that touch paper under the chair and inspire people, tell the stories, really get that communication live, that HR isn't just a function we go to when there's issues. We want to be on the front foot around how we inspire organisations. And then the other bit, which we've seen and through our research, is getting HR colleagues and people and culture colleagues to align to the organisation's goals, etc., and then align their work to it, that then it brings a joined up effort rather than the organisation tells them the goals and then maybe the HR colleagues, people and culture colleagues move away from it. We're bringing in from the ILM programme that we align that to the organisation as well, and where you play your really, really strong part from that point of view. So if you don't mind going to the next slide, Claire, that'd be great. So a lot of people say to us, well, where does the qualification fit in? How does it work, etc.? So the qualification is level 5. So what we look from our perspective, it's a really good level of qualification that everyone would see as a recognised good place to start. You can see most people talk on ILM programs as level 3, 5 and 7. Level 3 is aimed at A-level standard. From that perspective, really good standard to help new people get into that role. The level 5, which we're aiming the program for, is people that have been in that role for a while but want to rev it up a bit, really want to take that new HR, that people and culture role to the next level. That's where we brought in our level 5 certificate. So you can see that it's at diploma level, H&D, BTEC, etc. That's the level that we aim at. Level 7 then is your postgraduate. So if the program is successful, then we'll move into that role as well from kind of that level 7. But we think level 5 is a good place for our colleagues to really learn their skills, not spend too much time, but take enough time out to really develop themselves. But that's where the level 5 fits in perfectly. And we've seen that work really well for our colleagues. So if you don't mind going to the next slide, Claire, that'd be great. So now we're going to start to looking about actually what's the benefit to you, and also how's it start to look as the program, because those activists on the call will be going, just tell us the details, Steve, I want to get into that program, etc. But we're just kind of telling about the benefits of it. So first of all, let's just walk slowly so we really get these. So we want now from actually understanding the evolving role of HR as a business partner. It's really clear about the role has evolved. It's no longer, we want to get that role as at forefront of an organisation rather at the back when it's kind of wheeled out to help or support. Also, we're looking at like now the contemporary organisation structures. They've changed. Organisations have changed, and we've got more modern structures going in place. Want to really develop skills to build a sustained, effective partnership with your organisation. I've worked with some brilliant people and culture business partners over the years, and they worked with me and we worked together. I've also worked on the other side, some people that actually more pandered to my needs rather than supported or challenged me. And I think the best business partners really challenge that leader and really kind of work with them. Next point, bullet 3, align the HR strategies with overall business. So we're going to do a lot of work around aligning strategies to the business performance. Next one, which we've brought in, which is really key. So Claire, very highly qualified coach, so am I, but about mastering the skills of coaching and mentoring to really get people to walk for themselves rather than keep coming back for more idea suggestions, which is exhausting as a HR colleague. Really exhausting that they go, well, here's another idea, and they keep coming back, and when it doesn't work, they blame you for it rather than actually let's coach people to walk and talk for themselves. So we'll be going through that. We're going to then learn to how to quantify and communicate the value of HR. How do we really promote HR within the organisation? And then we are going to go there about some data and stats, some evidence. How do we really sell kind of the benefit of the organisation? Because what we do know is HR colleagues come into the role because they want to help people. They really want to help people. However, to influence leadership, you do need those data analytics. So that's where we're going to come in that analytical approach as well. Helen, I love that there. So that's great. We've hit that from that point of view. But that's where we're going to raise your level of leadership of how you can win the hearts and mind of an organisation rather than usually we see from HR colleagues, you know what the problems are, but we base it too much on our heart and that rather than connecting to the mind of data and stats. So that's where we're looking at. So Claire, over to you to start talking about the programme and how that looks.
Yeah, lovely. Thank you. That was a real kind of run through the key elements of the programme, I guess, and the benefits. But I can see from your comment, Helen, that, you know, it's resonating. So that's great. And we have thought really carefully about how to construct the programme so that it is different and does something in addition to what already exists. So I think that, you know, that's really kind of important to just highlight. In terms of how the programme is structured, there are 6 modules or units, you might hear us refer to them, delivered online, extremely participatory. So we're looking for, you know, absolutely two-way. It's about getting involved and as I said earlier, bringing examples of how things look in your organisation and in your day-to-day, and then thinking about how the learning relates to that. So there's a lot of participation through the programme. Each of the modules has key learning outcomes, of course, so you're clear what you're developing toward and what key capabilities you will need to demonstrate. And then there's 3 half-day action learning sets that support you to embed the learning throughout the programme. You know, that's where, you know, we'll be able to support you to start to reflect on what you're learning and what you're developing, pick up any challenges and issues, and work together as a peer group to support and challenge. In terms of portfolio learning, so after each module, you'll apply your learning to a relevant work-based task or assignment. And again, that's an opportunity to really look at real life application, but also reflect on your development and think about, you know, where there might be gaps for further learning. And that's the assessed part of the programme. So that's the bit that gets assessed that enables you to kind of move forward with the programme and ultimately to graduate from the programme. And you'll receive coaching and support throughout the programme. So you'll be supported by Stephen and I, and possibly other relevant specialists throughout the programme to ensure that you've got direct access to, you know, subject matter experts that can really help you understand the topics and then apply them to the real world. And we'll provide necessary individual coaching along the way as well. And of course, as I mentioned, you'll get to work alongside your peer group within your cohort to share experiences, share learnings, and support and challenge each other. And that happens in the modules and units, and it happens in the action learning sets, but it also can happen outside of that. You know, we really encourage you to kind of build that community of support and challenge, which is a huge learning advantage. And you may have experienced that in other programs that you've been on and in other programs that you're involved in running. And you'll also get a program workbook to support your learning and access to a learning portal. So there'll be lots of additional resources that you'll be able to access as part of the programme. Did I miss anything, Stephen? Anything you would add?
Absolutely fabulous. And this is the point here. I think what Claire is echoing is our philosophy is we treat you like adults.
Yeah.
So the actual bit of the learning is practical. We bring specialists in to work with you. The portfolio learning, I think sometimes is one of the best where you can get it down in paper or you can verbalize it. So we have that ability. And the other bit is that coaching that goes through that personal touch. Is there for you, which you may not always get from other organisations or kind of programs. That personal touch that we're there to coach and develop always through to make sure you're successful. So no, brilliant. Yeah, really good, Claire.
Yeah, definitely. That's, yeah, good point. We definitely support you all to be successful. That's what we want. That's what you want. So definitely in all of our interests. So just for those of you that prefer to see the structure on a page, this is sort of how the programme looks and how it's constructed. So level 5 certificate, as Stephen was explaining earlier, and each of the modules are laid out there in the sort of navy blue, and each supported with an assessed portfolio. And then every other module, there'll be an action learning set to support to embed the learning. So let's just have a little walk through the modules. One thing you might notice and might sort of jump out at you straight away is some of the module titles are a little bit lengthy and they don't quite roll off the tongue. And that's because we are utilising ILM's module titles and some of their learning outcomes, because that's really important to ensure that you get the right ILM recognised qualification. But of course, within that, we've shaped it to ensure that it's bespoke and specific to people and culture outcomes that are really important to us through this programme. So I think it's just helpful to spend a little bit of time looking at these modules. So the first one, starting on your left-hand side, understanding the organisational environment. This is just about, some of what Stephen talked about earlier, understanding the evolving role of people and culture business partner in contemporary structures. So, what does it look like now? What did it look like? What does it look like now? And what is it evolving to and looking like it's developing into for the future? So some work focused around that. Partnership working is pretty much what it is. It's about developing the skills to build and sustain effective partnerships, really effective, long-lasting partnerships within your organisation, one of mutual trust and respect, and a real focus on collaboration to achieve shared goals. So that's a really key module, and great to do that early on, so that you can then kind of layer the rest of your learning on that basis of partnership working as you go through the rest of the programme. Solving problems by making effective decisions in the workplace. This is about aligning people and culture strategy with business goals. So quite simply, just about saying, what does my business need to achieve and how then can I design a strategy around people and culture that's going to fit with that and enable delivery of that? Because as we all know, without people in our business performing and feeling valued and engaged, we're not going to deliver the business outcomes. So that's a really key part, and really, a great part of the programme to demonstrate your value add as a HR professional. This is a very long title, Understanding the Skills and Principles and Practice of Effective Coaching and Mentoring Within an Organisational Context. This is about organisational coaching and mentoring. So developing your skills as a coach, as a mentor, and also thinking about the place for coaching and mentoring in your organisation and the value of it and how it can really shift your culture. So that's a really key one. And I think, as I said earlier, a differentiator. I think a lot of these programs, HR professional programs and qualifications, focus on influencing, which is, of course, really important. But this program will focus on influencing through a coaching approach, which I think is definitely kind of where we're heading as a profession. And then managing for efficiency and effectiveness is about measuring the impact of your HR function, your role. So in here, we're thinking about key performance indicators for the work that you and your teams are doing, and methods for measuring HR impact. So really being able to demonstrate, why you're there in the first place, and the value that you bring. And that's really, really important. And I think that's an area of growing importance, actually. So something really, really key. And analysing and interpreting statistical information to inform management decisions. And this is just about leveraging data to drive strategic impact. So how do you use that management information that the leadership teams are sharing and talking about and cascading through the organisation to really align what you're doing from a people strategy point of view and drive a significant impact, and then going back to the previous module, demonstrate that. So I hope that gives you a good sense of kind of how the programme is structured, the main topics, the main areas that it covers. And I hope within that you know, you're identifying with some of it to kind of go, actually, that feels like a really important area for my development, or perhaps for those in your network or your team's development. I think that covers the main elements that we were really keen to share with you today, and we were looking forward to sharing with you today. And I hope that's been useful, and perhaps even inspired you to be part of our first programme, which we're hoping to start in September. And we've left a little bit of time at the end today to share, for you to share your questions and for us to do our best to answer them for you. So if you do have any questions on anything we've talked about or anything else related, then please take some time now to pop them in the chat, and we'll do our very best to work our way through them and answer them. And whatever we don't get time for, we can ensure we pick up afterwards. But I think we've got quite a bit of time left, so hopefully we'll be good.
So we just see now, so feel free to ask us any questions. Also after today, feel free to message or through Claire, or also for myself, any other questions you've got, or through inquiries at Inspirational Coaching Limited, which is limitd.com. Bit of a mouthful. If I'd have realised that 5 years ago, I may not have done something different. So, but there we go. So yeah, feel free to message or ask any questions from that point of view. And also probably any messages on there. How have you found the call today? So for learning for Claire and I. So if you haven't got any questions, how have you found the call today? It'd be good to get that in the chat. Has it been worthwhile? Those kind of things to kind of see how people are feeling.
I've just popped the email in there.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for that, Claire. Yes, it'd be great to get people up how they felt from the call today.
Any thoughts?
Yeah, that was great to hear. Got Sonia typing now.
Put my relevant slide on.
And then after today, what we will do is we're sharing with our network the video from today. So please feel free to share with your networks and yourselves. But that'll be coming out, I think we'll hopefully have that by about Monday, which will go out to people, which will be great. Cool.
Brilliant, Sonia. Yeah. Glad that was useful.
Yeah. Really appreciate it. So what I'll do is I can't see any other questions coming up from that point of view. So just want to say thank you for your time today. Really, really appreciate it. Thank you for Claire running this session as well. Really good. I think we're really clear from a HR expert what we're looking to do and deliver. And I think also the other point of view, message us if you need any questions, or from that perspective, please reach out. We're always there to help and support. But you will see the programme launching in September, which we're super excited about. Really, really excited. So Claire, anything else from you before we finish up today?
No, just thank you very much for your engagement throughout that. I hope it's been helpful and maybe inspired some thinking around a different approach to your development, and perhaps those within your network or colleagues. So please share the information, and as Stephen said, share the webinar. That would be great. And get in touch if you've got any questions. We'd love to help. We'd love to stay in touch, and look forward to meeting some of you in person, perhaps, and online again in September.
Fantastic. So enjoy the rest of the day, and thank you very much for today. Really appreciate it, and we look forward to seeing you soon. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Cheers, and bye-bye. Just wait. Lorna, are you there? Oh, Lorna,
she's just typing.
Oh, just typing. Thank you, Lorna. Just let Lorna disappear. Let me enjoy the rest of the day.
She's hanging about. She's still having her lunch. There you go.
So I just took Lonna out.
Yeah.
Good.
Cool. Okay. That was good.
It's very good.
Got some information recorded.
Yeah, we'll ask Jenny, the bit there, don't worry about the numbers, because it's amazing how we use this.
Yeah.
Influence other people, start talking about it, all that kind of stuff from that perspective. So always we like more, but it's amazing how one or two people, like Sonia is someone we work with regularly, so having her on is very influential.
Yeah.
Lonna used to work for Haven, so she works for another organisation, so that's good. And if I took Christina, I don't know Christina, there was another lady there, I don't know. It only takes one or two people to go.
Yeah.
And we get a change from it.
Yeah, great. Yeah, that was good. It was quite nice to talk it through because it sort of almost gets you.
Are you coming? Yeah. So I'm going to put Jenny.
Yeah.
No, well done.
Sorry,
always nice to talk to them again.
Gets you in the headspace of, what the delivery of the program would look like. You know, what would it really look and feel like? So, it's good. And I do think there's some really nice standout parts to this program that other programs, other similar programs don't have. So hopefully that came across, but let's see.
Yeah, I thought.
And I think once you get it shared now, people will listen to it in their own time. Like we've done a few of these now, and you always get a little bit disappointed when not many people are on it, but actually you don't know how many then are watching it later on.
Yes.
I think for me, the only thing maybe next time is if there's not a lot of numbers, when we're asking if they've got questions, ask them to speak rather than doing it in the text. But that's a little bit painful, isn't it? And also I think if one person speaks up, it makes the other people a little bit braver, doesn't it? To then get involved as well.
Yeah. We did a little dance there, Jenna. A little that's what we do. Yeah, good.
Yeah, I think you're right.
If we do another one, I just think it might be worth thinking about.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, great idea. No, it was good. So I enjoyed that. At least we've got a really nice little pack of info as well together. And we'll share the webinar and let me know if you get any inquiries, anything you want me to help with in terms of questions, anything like that.
Yeah. I think we have to think about it is, you can't suddenly take on the big HR world of CIPD overnight. You can't do it. That's just logical.
I don't think I want to do that. I'm not sure I want to do that.
But we need to chip away at it. And once we start getting a little bit of noise, then you get followership leadership of people to start to follow. So I think it's really good. It felt natural, you and I working together. So I thought it was really nice, the prep that went into it. And also about celebrating, but it comes from both angles of not just HR, but leadership. Yeah. So I really enjoyed it. So I thought it was good. Really good call. Really good.
The other thing I wondered is if on LinkedIn, Claire, I don't know if you're a member of any specifically HR groups.
Yeah.
That allow you to put a post on them. So to share, once we've got the recording, to share it on those types of groups rather than just on your own page.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
We've got a couple local Kent business ones and stuff that we could share it on. But when you might be part of bigger networking groups than we are.
Yeah, I'm in a few groups, which I did mention the webinar today in there, so I can follow up quite nicely with the recording and just let people know that it's there. So that's great. Yeah,
well, give an example as well, Claire. So a webinar we did last year, we used for where we got business with an organisation this year. So they could then look at the webinar. So it's not always quick impact, but they're great marketing tools that we use. That we just suddenly go, well, here's a webinar we've done. Have a look at it. Yeah. Then we had, so that's with Leicester. So we used that with Leicester, and they went, oh, really good. We like what you've done. So I just see it today as a great tool. If you don't do any marketing, that's not marketing. So we're doing something proactive, which I love it. So I really enjoyed it. We enjoyed working with you today. Very nice and articulate. I love that. When you went something under your seat, I was thinking, don't say the word shit.
But is that even a saying? As I was saying it, I was like, Fire under my seat. I mean, I think I've said that a few times,
Fire
so
in
I
your
need to
belly.
maybe.
Fire in your belly. I think fire in your belly. I've never heard fire under your seat. I've never heard that before.
Like I've had a hot curry the night before or something.
It might be a Northampton phrase, I think. It may not be a Kent phrase, isn't it? But I'll try it with my wife
brilliant.
tonight. When I get home from work,
Fire
I'll
under
say,
my seat.
I've got fire under my seat. See if it lands.
I think it is a thing, because if you have fire under your seat, you like jump off, don't you? Because your bum will be on fire.
I mean, a rocket up your arse. That's the other way of looking at it. So that could be it. So good. But well done. And enjoy the rest of your day. I really appreciate it. And there will be some more coaching stuff coming up as well. So we've got some more good stuff in the pipeline. So
Cool.
I'll be reaching out to you from that perspective.
Yeah, just don't hesitate.
We'll get some more noise out of it coming off the back of it, which we'll send out next week.
So just let me know when you send something out, and then I'll jump on it.
Yeah, perfect. So as you can see now, Jenny's not sitting down because she's got too much fire under her seat.
Under her seat.
Sat down today. My back's aching from sitting there.
Yeah, good. Right, we'll leave you in peace. You have a bloody good day, but thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you. Take care.
See you later. Bye.